Hey, what's up? This is Erik Rogers from Stereomud, and you're watching Scott Bowling and Good Company. There's always a party in the basement.
Hey guys, my name's Scott Bowling, and you're watching Good Company. Erik Rogers. Thank you for coming back, man.
It's good to be back, my friend. Good to see you.
When I first started the show, 5 years ago actually, from this month, you were the second person on the show. The first one was a buddy of mine. And man, I'm telling you, like ever since I had you, it kind of the snowball where I get you, then I get Bones and Rich Ward. And it really started from you, man.
Well,
So
I appreciate
really,
that.
Thank you.
I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, though, man.
We were joking earlier, man. I was like, you want to do a podcast in my basement? You know, like you took a chance
I think you
on me.
messaged me on Facebook, actually, or something, and just out of the blue. I was like, not really sure who this guy is. In fact, I'm pretty sure I was in the basement with the band just jamming.
You told me, yeah.
And said, hey, guys, we got an interview request from a guy online. I'm not sure where or what or who. And they were all like, yeah, let's do it.
Didn't you bring security? Like, didn't you bring a pistol or a gun? Like, I felt like one of your guys had some kind of...
I'm from the South.
Yeah, you got to.
I carry. Anyway, I mean, that's just Southern pride. But
no, it was great.
No, but what did we do? We showed up on you with full gear, ready to play a show.
We did. We didn't know what we were doing with the sound mix. I mean, this is all like first time. I was like, it was amazing.
We're going to bring it. We're going to bring it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
exactly.
It was fun.
And we've been friends ever since. So that's really cool. The band you brought over was My Therapy.
Yeah.
You guys been together for a while now, right?
5
years now.
I like the props.
Yes, man.
This was crazy. A stack of props. Yeah, that's
you got the most props of like any interview I've done, I think.
Well, I've had a lot of bands. I've
Yeah.
done a lot.
But My Therapy, you guys been together for like a few years now, like 5?
We're going on, it would be the 5 years. We had just started. It's funny, I'd kind of retired from playing. I'd moved from Atlanta to my home my wife and I moved up to my home in Hayesville, North Carolina on Lake Chattooga. And I went to work for the tribe at the casino, the Cherokee tribe. And said, I'm never going to meet any, I think it's a total population in Clay County of about 13,000 people. And then the neighboring county, Cherokee, is about 20,000 people. And I was like, well, it's not like Atlanta where you can find musicians everywhere. When I lived in New York, and whatnot. But I met the drummer at the Starbucks at the casino. And he was like, hey, man, I play drums, guitar, bass.
Dude, he can do everything.
Violin, piano. And he recognized me and he said, I think you're a guy that used to sing in a band called Stereomud. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, if you ever want to jam. So he and I started jamming in the basement, just acoustic guitars and Adam.
Adam, yeah.
And skip ahead and I meet Will. Will had messaged and ordered a CD from a band I had called Dangerous New Machine. And when I saw the address was like 7 miles from where I lived. And I'm like, well, hell, I'm not going to pay to ship it. I'll just drive it to his house and put it in his mailbox, and wound up messaging him and saying, hey, man, I live nearby. I'll meet you. So I met him, and he goes, I play guitar and bass if you ever want to jam. And I'm like, And
he was a fan of Stereomud, too.
Yeah. So Adam and I had him come to the house, and we had like a signal in case
like
he sucked. So we could get him out of there. Adam had kids at home, and my kids are grown, and he has little kids at home, and he was like, I'm going to pretend my wife had an emergency with the kids if he's no good.
Oh, okay.
Well, he came and started playing, and he was really good. And we were like, fuck, we're not. Then his wife started calling for real because he's like, come home and And Will said, I'm a decent guitar player, but I got this guy, Jeremy. He's a better guitar player.
Oh, okay.
So Jeremy came into the fold, and I was like, well, son of a bitch, I got a band again, I guess. I'm going to
Yeah, and you weren't even expecting, We
started writing and recording, and we called it My Therapy because, some guys have a poker night.
Yep.
You have Good Company in your basement. It's
That's
a great way.
Yeah, 100%.
For me, it's music. I've always, birth to death, man, I'll play music, I'll write, listen, enjoy, and it was one of those things. We just called it My Therapy because it was kind of our joke for a poker night.
Yeah.
And then we got asked to play a show locally, and then we just started playing some more shows for fun and started recording. I was like, well, we got to officially call it something. Mm-hmm. So My Therapy stuck. So
I love when you guys did the was it like Facebook Live videos where you guys were rehearsing? That's really cool.
That's in the basement of my house.
Yeah,
yeah,
right by the pool table.
So it's right on the lake, and it's funny because in the summer when we're playing, you can watch people like that are fishing or skiing. The boats will stop in
They
front of the
can
house.
hear it.
You can hear us from across the lake. I mean, sound carries across the water,
especially on the lake,
and
yeah.
we're loud. So yeah, it's pretty cool though. Most of the neighbors don't complain. They prefer some of the songs to other songs because we do a bunch of obscure covers
I
from
love
hip
your
hop to
covers.
country
Yeah.
to traditional rock songs.
Yeah, I love those hip hop songs when you make them rock.
So yeah, so we do that. My wife hates some of them. She
Really?
Yeah, we tried to do Whistle.
Yeah.
And she can't stand the version of Whistle that we. She came down and said, "Okay, I never say stop, but this time I say stop." But yeah, we have a good time
And people can find like My Therapy on all
on
platforms.
on Facebook, online,
Facebook,
and we've got everything anywhere you can get digital music. We've got it available.
Man, you guys wrote. I got invited to the studio with you.
Yeah,
one
you
time.
came up for what was it? God Will Set It Straight. Weren't you in the studio with us on that song?
And there was another one too. I can't. I feel like there was one more, but great songs, man.
Oh, thank you.
And the lyrics. I mean, you guys write so well. I mean,
I appreciate that.
When I heard it, I was like, you just wrote this song. I'm like, holy.
Yeah, we did. We wrote that one, and we recorded it for a guy that was putting out like an unsigned, like bands you should know kind of album on it was a small independent label.
On that, yeah.
And and he had seen us on Facebook Live and asked if we would record it for him. So we kind of scrambled and got it put together pretty quickly.
Oh, it's so good.
And got it. Thank you.
Are you guys working on music right now?
We haven't been working on anything. So COVID has kind of hit us up there in the mountains. So Will is unfortunately, he's got it right now, and Adam had it, and Jeremy had it, and I had it.
Wow.
And we've all kind of, and everybody fared it well, but, and just trying to get through just this crazy world we're dealing with right now. So we really haven't been playing that much.
Do you guys still record at that same studio? Yeah.
It got hit by lightning and caught on fire.
Oh, are you serious?
So, and it's not easy to find a studio in the mountains up there in North Carolina.
Burned down.
So yeah, it didn't burn down, but it shot out all the equipment in there.
Wow.
Like it all smoked it all.
Are they fixing it or just?
I don't think they're going to. It's a shame because it was a really so cool spot.
Yeah.
But we're talking to Cheney Brannon.
Yeah, well, I know Jay. Yeah.
So
you
we've
talking
been
to him?
talking to him to record in his studio.
Yes.
So
I
I
was supposed to
actually
get him on the show sometime, man.
yeah, he's a trip.
He
You'll have
plays
a good
drums
time
for
with
Collective
him.
Soul.
Yeah.
And Sound Device.
Yeah, he did play for Sound Device. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I got these random props, so it's like I'm just gonna go to this album. Look at this, Stereomud.
Yeah.
This was your.
That was Every Given Moment.
I love this album.
Yeah, it should have been called Not Given a Moment.
Not Given a Moment.
But
You guys toured on this album, right? Briefly.
for a very brief time. That's about the time the label. We were at odds with the label, and they sent us home. And we were actually asked. Godsmack had asked us to do a main support for them on a tour, and the label didn't want to cover that one. And
Why not?
I don't know.
Godsmack was huge.
I
back in the day.
think so. We were on the first record. We were on Loud, which was a subsidiary of Columbia, and it was a hip hop label. We were the only rock band with Wu-Tang and Exhibit and Method Man and that whole group, and they wanted a rock band, and they picked us. So we had amazing support. Well, skip ahead to the cycle for the second record, and we had already gone in the studio and started recording, and Steve Rifkin and John Rifkin decided to sell out. So we were one of the ones that got absorbed up into Columbia proper. Well, we had no A&R guy, no marketing guy. Everybody got appointed.
Oh, yeah.
And it just kind of got lost in the mix.
Yeah, that sucks, man. I know Corey was your bass player, Corey Lowry, and he just left Stuck Mojo for you guys, right?
He left Stuck Mojo prior to me coming in as a singer.
Oh, okay.
So I was actually in a band called Belt Fed that was touring with Stuck Mojo on the last tour that they were doing. And his brother Dustin, the youngest Lowry, was playing drums for me. And Corey went to New York to jam with Joey Z from Life Agony and Dan.
Yes.
And they were trying to form a new project.
This is it right here.
That's it. Worst album cover ever.
You got to talk about that. Like, who picked the album cover up?
I don't know. We might have drank too much back then. I might have thought it was a good idea.
Saw it and you're like,
it was supposed to
it.
be like a ripple, like a sound wave. I don't know what we were thinking when we came up with that, but it was poor. We'd obviously gotten it together by the second album. I think it was.
But I like the
much
story.
better.
Like you said, didn't you go to New York? Like, didn't you guys get jobs together, you and Corey?
We
or
did.
something?
We were cleaning office buildings overnight. It lasted about 3 nights.
How sucky is that job?
It sucked. It was shitty. It didn't last long. We were doing whatever we could to survive. I remember we'd have people that would, friends that supported the band would send us, money, and we might go out and drink instead of doing other things. And it was Corey's wife started sending us Wendy's bucks.
Really?
I don't even know if Wendy's still does Wendy's bucks.
I've never even heard of that.
But they had Wendy's bucks, and she wouldn't send us money so we couldn't go to a bar and drink.
Oh.
So we guaranteed that we would eat something.
That's
And I was like, man, we're really that bad? And she's
Wendy's
like, yeah.
bucks.
I weighed probably 110 pounds. And
Yeah.
I was like, but I can sing and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
But it was a rough year up there, but it paid off.
It did, man. You had that. What was that song that came out? You did it at Griffith Park, right?
Pain.
Pain.
Pain was the first single.
Yeah, that was an amazing song. Did you guys know that was going to be it, like when you were recording?
No, and in fact, it went through several different
Really?
versions before it was finally like produced and on the album, which I think is probably true for most, when you're recording something. And even still, after the album's recorded, it'll change live, and you'll extend parts, and you'll go back to stuff that you might have done in practice that you really liked that the producer pulled.
Did you guys have a second single off that album? Or was it
Stepping Away.
Stepping Away? That's a great song. Yep, remember that. You were talking about Cheney. Look at this sound device.
There he is.
There's Cheney.
Yeah, and Billy Gray from Fozzy.
Billy Gray, yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody that's on the show knows either Billy Gray or Cheney. It's like
hard not to.
Yes.
Billy's a phenomenal guitar player.
Sound device. I mean, not sound device. Stereomud. I guess you guys went your own way after the second album.
We did. It was easier to break up the band to get out of the deal.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's easy if it's not an entity. So it was. I mean, if we had tried to keep going, we would have had to have basically walked away from an album we'd spent a year recording, right? And
I
writing.
forgot about that.
And a whole lot of. I mean, we really busted our asses for that second record, and we would have had to walk away from it.
Yeah.
Because we would have had to write a third record, and I don't think any of us were in the mindset
You can't recapture that. Yeah.
to do that right again, right off the bat. And
sounds like you guys were like burned out, maybe a little.
it burned out with the business side of it, not
Yeah.
music.
Not
I mean,
music,
everybody
yeah.
went on. I mean, Joey had an opportunity to go back with Life of Agony and do some reunion shows in New York.
Yeah.
And that worked great for him. In fact, I flew up from Atlanta to his first show in New York when they got together because I wanted to show support. He's my brother.
That's amazing.
And Corey had a bunch of bands.
Dark New Day,
and what was it? There was another one.
Yeah, he's got
I
a bunch of them.
Empire.
Yeah, I Empire.
And then now he's playing for Seether.
guitar.
So he's done well. I mean, Corey will play music. They'll have to bury him with a guitar or
Him and his
bass
whole family,
because
right?
he'll never stop. I mean, that's just that. He was raised. His mother and father were touring musicians. The brothers are all musicians, and they're just sickening how talented they are.
Yeah, man.
And a pleasure. I will
got
tell
some
you,
good
Corey.
genes in that
Corey
family.
Lowry will sit down if you're working on a song, and he will stay in the room 100% focused and try any and every idea until that song's finished or killed. It's got to be undeniable in his, in that phrase. That was a phrase we used to use. And Corey won't stop. I mean, he's just driven. So
Yeah, you need people like that in the band.
yeah.
But so, sound device. How'd you find all these guys? How'd you find Cheney?
Cheney was actually a roommate. Cheney's first recording studio was in the basement of the first house I ever bought. And so we had Seven Dust did all their demos there. Collective Soul, when they were young, when they were first starting, had done their demos there. The Deftones came in and recorded there.
Nice.
So my house had a revolving door of these people before they blew up,
Yeah.
And Craig Mall, the bass player,
Yes.
he moved in and he was a roommate. So that's how the three of us knew each other. And when Stereomud stopped, I was talking to Craig and Cheney, and Cheney knew Jason, and Billy came into the mix. We were looking for a second guitar player. And that's how that started. And it was just kind of I wasn't done. I wanted to tour and play music. And
Highly underrated, by the way.
so, thank you.
I love Sound Device. I wore that CD out.
For Billy and I, it was a little too more on the pop rock side of things.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely more of a hard rock, heavy metal more side of things. So I can sing, but I like to scream too. So that's where Billy and I kind of branched out and had Dangerous New Machine.
Oh yeah, nice.
So,
I came after that. Do you ever go back and listen to this record?
Oh yeah.
I love that story. You told it before, but it's so funny about Billy Gray with the dreads.
Yeah.
And you're like, maybe you should cut his hair, but don't say anything.
Yeah. So when Billy came to audition, he had dreadlocks, and the rest of us didn't. And I was like, man, he's a phenomenal guitar player, but I don't know if he looks the part for what we're trying to do. I'm like, but don't anybody say anything to him. So I walk out to go to the bathroom, and I come back, and they're talking about him cutting his hair. I'm like, well, that didn't fucking last. So, and he's like, they all looked at me and said, he brought it up.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, okay. Well, if he brought it up, I'm like, buddy, I don't care if you cut your hair. You know what? It doesn't really matter. I told him not to say. He's like, I brought it up. I'm ready to cut him off. Now I can tell my wife I'm cutting him off because y'all said so. I'm like, don't tell her I said so. I haven't even met her yet.
So this is when you guys came over.
Yeah.
Played music.
Yep. That was the interview.
Second interview I've ever done. And then first time I had, setting all this up, it's amazing that we pulled it off.
Yeah.
And you guys came over and jammed, man.
Yeah, I think we made you nervous because we came
You were just, to this day, I've never had a live band like that.
full blown ready to play.
You were, man. Yeah. I was nervous because I didn't know what I was doing.
You said it was a show about music. I was like, well, let's bring
dude.
some music.
I can't say no to that, man. That's amazing. But wow, what a day. I still love watching this. I mean,
I think
great
Adam
songs.
even brought a drum set, but you had your drums down here. We're like, oh, you're a drummer. Well, cool. We'll use yours. They were already set up.
I remember Will said, I think he ate a taco or some kind of food exploded on his shirt. I remember he said he had to change right before the interview.
Yeah, he did have something explode.
Yeah,
on
see,
him.
I
I don't
remember
remember
something
what
like
he ate. It was a burrito or
It was a
something
burrito.
that exploded on him.
Dude, it's amazing that all you guys are still together, you know? I mean, you're all still in the band, right?
Yeah, that's what makes it work. I mean, band is like a family, or a really bad relationship, and you just got multiple partners because you find yourself saying things like, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings, or I won't do that again, and different things that you might say to your spouse or girlfriend. You go through the same arguments and whatnot with band. It's just over a different foundation, you know, music being the foundation. And
Yeah, I've heard that before.
and one of the most, one of the great things about it was we just kind of clicked. We liked writing songs, and there's no egos in the room when we do it. You can't be attached to a part or when you're writing a song if you're writing it as a group. If you're a solo artist, it's your way or the highway. I get it. But if you're doing it as a band, you've got, though it's that opinion and that back and forth that makes those songs, to use a Lowry, undeniable, you know, to go back and forth and do it. And
And talent.
we've got a great
You guys
chemistry.
are all talented, man.
Very talented
Yeah.
guys. I don't know why they ever stayed in Western North Carolina in the mountains. I mean, half of them should have been in other bands and touring the world. You know, they just didn't.
Yeah, you got lucky. Then look at this. This is
Look
our
at
very
that.
first handshake, guys. Look at that.
We color coordinated.
Yeah, we
Scott
did.
and he had messaged me on Facebook. He said, "Hey, I'm going to wear blue." I was like, "Okay, I'll wear
It's
blue."
like you got the navy jeans, right? But yeah, man, that's good
That's
stuff.
crazy.
And then this is Erik telling a joke that I'm laughing at. I don't know what we're talking about.
I don't know what we're
Man,
into,
but
but
this
I'm
day
using,
meant so much to me,
I'm
man.
using props.
And I was gonna give this to Will. I
Look
got
at
800 props
Look
for our
at
interview.
Willie.
Concentrated.
I like
And he's
the
a
fact
bass
that-
player though. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know that at first. I thought he was just the guitar player. And then we got
Look.
this is getting redundant. I'm sorry, y'all.
Oh,
We got this. Look at that.
Nice. I like that picture.
See
I think
that?
I have a smaller version of that
And
picture.
then
Al.
you guys got me a guitar,
We did.
and you signed it.
Yep, that was when you were at the studio.
Dude, I was so proud, man. I was like, wow, that's amazing. You guys didn't have to do that, man. It's so cool. I still got it on my wall. Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You sang in the studio with
I
us.
did on, what's that song?
Live with it.
Yeah, I did the gang vocal. with
Yeah.
this. That's amazing. I forgot that. Yeah, there's a blurry picture of you. I want to talk about this one real fast. Jeremy, on top of the tour bus.
For the video, for my therapy.
He was a little intoxicated, right?
He was very intoxicated. And then you add that he's afraid of heights. So it's amazing that we got him up there.
Yeah, alcohol.
And the
will, like,
fact
give
that
you
he was
courage.
drunk is we're lucky he didn't fall off.
So
Yeah.
I'm so bummed I didn't go to this. I remember you guys had that video shoot.
Yeah, that was part of the drone footage there.
Yeah.
I don't know how people in Franklin were stopping and go, what the hell is going on?
Oh, I bet.
Where'd the tour bus come from? And why's the guy standing on the roof playing the guitar? You know, but it was fun. It turned out really well, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a cool little video.
What song was that for the video?
My Therapy,
My Therapy.
the title
Yes,
track.
yes.
It was just a fun bar song, really. We literally played at the end of the show to basically remind people of the name of the band. We make them say it
That's a good idea.
about 40 times in the song. So,
Are you going to do any more videos?
like to.
This is
I'd like to do one for God Will Set It Straight.
I love that song,
Yeah.
man. It's such a good
I'd
song.
like to do one for that one.
Dude, I gotta tell you, man, I saw a video of you singing at church. And I was like, man, that was amazing.
Where this Christmas Eve, I do that for my mom every
Yeah,
year.
okay, that's what it was. But man,
Yeah.
you ever get nervous like that? I mean, I would be terrified.
No, no. So I started in church, church choir, and when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Church choir for kids was a way for a stay-at-home mom to drop her kids off and leave them so she could go grocery shopping and do stuff. And the church that I went to church in Decatur, like right outside of Atlanta, Decatur, Georgia. And it was a big Methodist church in downtown Decatur. And it was a husband and wife team, Carolyn and Henry McDowell. And Carolyn did the children's choirs and Henry did the adult choir. And they're just a brilliant couple. I mean, musically, they wrote all kinds of music, and this was all on the Christian side of things. But I enjoyed it. Like my brother and sister went too, but they kind of moved on. I did it all the way until my 20s.
Wow.
And I toured with their summer players group, so I sang solos in church. But I was the kid at 5 pulling on my robe, singing out loud, louder than everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And nobody else in your family sings, right?
My mom does, but not in front of people.
Okay.
Like in the house. Like I grew up with her. So I don't know if you remember. For some, I'm older. So we had that piece of furniture that opened up, right? And it had a record player and an 8-track player and a radio. And it was an enormous, heavy piece of furniture, about the size of your bar. And it was loud. The thing rocked. Yeah. So my mom would play records when she was cleaning the house or making dinner or doing whatever and sing. And she could sing. And I used to ask her as I got older, I'm like, ladies would sing solos in church. I'm like, Mom, why don't you sing? I've heard you sing the song at home and you sound better than the ladies singing it. She's like, oh no, I had zero desire to sing in front of people.
Really?
No performance gene at all.
Wow.
Could do it, you know, and if you could catch her hidden, of course, this is before the days of TikToks and everything where you'd hidden camera and catch somebody doing it. But and she still to this day does. And she played piano.
Do you ever sing with her?
No, cool. But I do Hallelujah for her. The Hallelujah Christmas song.
Yeah, man.
And she sings with the choir behind me. So
cool.
every Christmas Eve I do that song for the church.
You know you're a good singer when you play that or sing that. That's a hard song, man.
But she gets up and sings it with the choir blending with her. So
no, that's great. One more shot from the studio. I can't believe that got caught on fire. That's
it really sucks. That was a beautiful recording studio.
It was, and this is from your video. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was there for that one. That's cool. Oh, look, I got Jason Mendoza. Wrong properly. I meant to do that prior. My therapy. Here's your logo, man.
Yeah. Like I said, nice and simple.
It is. I love my therapy, man. Are you guys? You said you're working on new music, or
we are. We've got a bunch actually, and
I keep missing you guys playing live.
I was glad I ran into Cheney when I did. It was just happenstance. We had a good, not on a sad note, a very good friend of ours passed away, and he worked as a tech. He worked for me in my first band in high school, which I was telling Dozer earlier. That's like the buddy that would carry the gear for you.
Yeah.
But he took it very seriously and kept going, and he wanted to learn how to set up drums and sound check drums and string guitars and do everything. He wound up working for Justin Bieber for 5 years. So he took it seriously and made a career out of it.
Yeah.
He passed away a couple of weeks ago, and it brought Cheney and Jason and a bunch of us together, an older Atlanta music scene. And I told him, I said, it's a shame a tragedy like this brought us together, but it was great to see everybody and celebrate his life. And it just happened that Cheney said, I opened another recording studio, and he's like, I'm recording with Collective Soul right now, but you ought to come down and record. Because Cheney and I used to record together all the time. Yeah. Even if he was playing drums for me or different bands, I mean, he's just a fun guy to work with in the studio. Mm-hmm. So I was like, it's kind of meant to be. I guess, Danny had to pull us all back together in a room one last time, to make us not make it the one last time so we'd see each other. So,
man, I really appreciate you though doing my show though, man. That meant a lot to me, man.
I love it, brother. I come down and do a show and make a friend I've had for now 5 years.
Yeah, man, it really is.
Absolutely.
Cheers for that.
Cheers to that, my friend.
Yeah, we need more interviews.
You need a light beer sponsor.
I know, yeah, but Miller Lite's delicious. Dude, thank you for
good when
the show,
it hits
bro.
the lips.
The lips.